Wait, else, I didn't see this come up as his.
Well, if it's in the city limits, you must be outside the
He
city
lives
limits.
just south of here,
Oh,
so that's on the street. Morning.
I've arrived, you can adjourn now.
okay, no, we're already Morning.
Morning.
To number 6.
Yep.
Well, she said,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody get a chance to look at the minutes agenda?
I did. I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Give second for Sims to approve the minutes agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Well, don't you want to try and run that high-tech phone?
Looks good. Let's do this and go up. Doesn't let me go up though.
Really? You would think it would let you go on.
They'll be here.
Morning.
Morning.
One more meeting, right at 9.
Right at 9?
Right at. I've got 3 trials and I've got some stuff like that.
County engineer. Please leave a message and I'll get.
Talk about a unique way to try to reimburse people that we in drainage.
Oh, yeah, no, I should be right away at 9. I've got court, but most of it doesn't start till 9:30.
Have you researched that at all?
A little bit.
Think it's a possibility?
We're talking about it's a slippery slope. I mean, it's,
Not something, it's huge, but
no, I know what you mean. I talked to Chris a little bit about it too.
Morning, Scott.
Morning.
could be Mark coming through, or?
I believe so.
Well, you're up to bat. Scott Miners engineer will discuss secondary road matters.
Well, first thing, last week or the week before, approved construction contract with Peterson Contractors. Have their signatures. A motion from you, but I do need signatures from you, Bill, and Carla as well.
Carla, can you put that on the agenda to talk about just drainage? Is drainage just good enough for compensation of
Yeah.
drainage?
Would I just fall under the attorney auditor's office discusses drainage matters, or do you want it to be more than that?
We'll talk after. I think we'll be a little more specific.
Sounds good.
Anything else for drainage?
Well, you're on secondary roads at the moment.
All right, excuse me. There we go.
I don't have anything specific for you guys.
I don't have any.
So if we get all the, I see there was some spraying of the dust control done. Did it all be done then?
My understanding is they got it all done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I've had a couple
people ask me about the tree spraying in the ditches. Now, that's conservation that does it, but they do all the gravel roads too, right?
I believe so.
There's a lot of concerns about,
A lot of spot spraying, but I think they do, check the whole county.
there's a couple people that are thinking that the trees are getting out of hand in a couple areas.
Yeah, and I know that some areas, where they got a grove or something like that, they will exercise a little bit of judgment, try not to kill somebody's grove.
Yeah, well, but if it's growing in the road ditch.
Yeah, it's something that you'd have to talk to Robert about. Great.
Well, we probably ought to come to an understanding. That probably should get put on the agenda too then. We should come to an understanding with him, what he's gonna, how he's gonna handle it. What their view of controlling trees are in the ditch. It's obviously wise for you to be there too, so.
So we just put on the agenda when you be here.
Yeah. But I would think, don't have to, but I
You
would.
guys have done that in the past, I think.
Yeah,
Robert's done
well, it's good to have a report and how we're doing and what his plan is.
But don't they hire someone to do a lot of the weed spraying?
No, they use summer help.
They have in the past.
I've seen them several times out on the blacktop spraying. They must just, I assume they do them first. No, this is,
The county.
road ditches.
Okay. So wasn't it a few years ago, they were hiring B&W for part of it? And they
Yeah.
were doing the rest?
I thought so.
Yeah,
That's why I thought that was familiar.
but I haven't heard much of that lately. Seems like they're doing most of it themselves. But we can find out, yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing I had was Mark was gonna look at some. Do you know if he went out and looked, by Mathis's place? Didn't say anything about you. We've got a tile that's probably plugged
So
up.
when I call you on,
Okay.
Tile that's probably plugged under the road. Well, it looks like it's tile weather plugged, but,
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that a little bit. I had two things come up relatively close to each other that are almost identical situations. We got private tile coming from somebody's property toward the road ditch, and they've done what they can on their property to check it, make sure that it's working. And the contractor will get to the road ditch and realize they haven't found the problem, calls us to ask if we can dig under the road to figure out what the problem is. And so I have called back and not gotten a hold of Carol. But in these situations, and talking to Mark, what we've done in the past is to have the contractor either get a permit to dig on the other side of the road or to work with the landowner on the other side of the road to prove that there is a problem in the road. Otherwise, we'll get to working on quite a few different projects like that and not find anything.
well, in this one also, right above the tile is a culvert that is, probably 5/8 plugged at least, I would guess.
Okay.
so in a case scenario like this one out there, if they were to get that permit to dig on the other side of the road, would it behoove all of us if he also put an intake on the other side of the road, just so we can monitor it?
Possibly, yeah, whenever we do road crossings, we always put intakes on both sides of the roads just to prevent this kind of mystery from coming up and plugging up our workload.
It's obvious they got the tile dug right to the right of way and that's probably 7/8 plugged right there where you can see it. I don't know what it was like the rest of it as he dug up to it. That's not my problem, it's the Terry's district. The other side of the road's my problem.
So how do we know it's my problem when it's coming from the other side of the road?
Well, it might be plugged in here half and quarter.
This is the discussion,
And
yeah.
this is the middleman.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess it's the only thing I can. All right, number 3, memorandum of understanding between the DD 25 trustees and the Board of Supervisors for bridge replacement.
This agreement might seem a little bit unusual. I don't think we've done one before, but In this case, we're doing a federal aid bridge project, putting in a culvert for a bridge. This is the one a mile west of feed mill. It's north and west a mile from the feed mill. Project we're working on for next summer. The reason that this memorandum of understanding is required is because the culvert will extend past the road right of way into more of the drainage district right of way. We'll be getting temporary easements from the landowners to do the work, including the bypass channel and piling of dirt and things like that. But within the actual drainage district right of way, since the trustees have control over that and we'll be putting a culvert there, it needs to be at least an agreement between you guys acting as the Board of Supervisors and the Drainage District 25 Board of Trustees. So I've gotten signatures from them, and the agreement's pretty basic. It just says that we can put in the culvert and we agree to maintain it. And they will agree to allow it to be there. Essentially.
So we just need to sign that then.
Need a motion to approve it.
You did your district.
Well, it doesn't say anything about action on it. It says memorandum of understanding. It need to be. I mean, I'm fine with it.
So am I, if we get in trouble over it, I'll make a motion.
I think I've looked at that. Is that what you sent me? Did you send me one like that?
Yes.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, you did see that earlier.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum for DD 25.
I'll second the motion.
Motion Stenzer, second Derby, to approve the memorandum of understanding between DD5 trustees and the Board of Supervisors for bridge replacement. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Auditor's office will discuss drainage matters.
This is Chris.
Chris, we're ready for you.
Okay, thank you. Hi.
Good morning. Anything exciting for us?
K1 Excavating had done some work, and he sent in a bill, but he didn't have it itemized, so I had Mark check on it. One of them turned out to be a trustee drain. So I just want to reiterate, if anybody calls to make sure we know where the work is being done, because now I have to call the trustees to make sure that they're okay with this being paid. To make sure the contractors call you, call me, Carla, to make sure that it's approved. So I had no petitions, I have nothing. So,
Where was it at?
DD 60.
But there was other ones too.
And two other ones, for names I don't have. Nobody has called me on these, all three of them.
So they weren't approved by us?
They weren't approved by anyone.
No,
He just went ahead.
the landowner called him, he went and fixed it and sent a bill. And they're not very much money, and the work probably needed to get done, but the
Which
point is,
landowner?
But it's just not the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
Who were the landowners?
somebody by the name of Hanson, and then Dan Ryerson.
Can we talk to them?
talked to me.
And they're in Logan and Norway, the two townships. So I just wanted to reiterate,
Who are they? Ryerson and who?
some
What's the first
Hanson,
name?
I don't know the first names. And Mark didn't have the first names either.
Ryerson and who?
Hanson,
Hanson.
DD 57, section 23 of Norway. So,
How about Logan?
that was section 18, and that's the trustee drain. So, I just wanted to reiterate, we haven't talked about it in a while, we haven't had any issues, it's all been going good, so. Other than that, how do you think things are going? DD5 looking good, DD2 looking good? Anybody? I've gotten only just a few calls on my first last week. Got the stuff going to the papers.
I haven't heard anything from NRCS on their land through, north of Thompson there. Last I knew, they were trying to get it to dry out before they could work on it. They're still waiting to get permission from higher up, spending money on it.
So that's all I know.
We discussed that one a while back. Who was it showing us photos of? Somebody,
I had photos.
was it you that had photos?
I brought photos in for the record. And Kluber from the NRCS took all the pictures.
Nothing else?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll move on. Julie Swenson, treasurer, to discuss with possible action abatement of U.S. fish and wildlife drainage tax assessments.
This has come up before, and I believe Chris talked to Adam, and on here, I don't know if when it was submitted the last time you guys had looked, I have letters from the state here, and then correspondence that you had gotten from John. So we're just kind of stuck, and if they don't pay it, they don't feel that they have to pay it, and you don't get any money. And I feel that they should.
And that's for the, like, they pay the other stuff, right, periodically, like, whenever they feel.
Yeah, whenever they feel like it, they might pay some of the drainage, or they'll pay
And then, okay, so when you say they,
the U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
okay.
And we do get money in, like a flat rate from U.S. Fish and Wildlife, but then we have to divide it between like 4 different areas in the county. But this is like $6,000 worth of drainage that they do not want to pay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like every county problem, right?
Yes. Yeah.
In the whole country.
Well, I don't know the country, I know the state. In
Well, at least they
Iowa,
have drainage districts.
yeah, in Iowa, it's not just us, this is every county that goes through the same problems, so.
And I know we've always had a battle with the DNR, and they are starting to pay some of theirs, but they still won't pay everything. They kind of pick and choose what areas they want to pay too.
We can't have a tax sale for the property.
It would be interesting. I'm
Want to
sorry.
put your name on the map?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not sure I want to bark up that tree.
Yeah.
Either way.
No, because they send the letter like what's included in there that, because I've often asked them to pay and they just kind of get a little edgy with me and they send that note back and stamp it and say, you just can't make us pay and we're not going to pay because we're exempt.
And I think for what a fight it would be, because Adam can't do it because it's a federal thing.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting, you'd have to get other counties to join in, I mean, you'd have to have a pretty strong backing to,
Get a bunch of counties and
yeah,
a federal lawyer.
not sure you're gonna find other counties that wanna go to bat.
So then nobody's called us to want us to join in a group with them, so.
No one's been asking if we want to join them, so.
City of Adair, is that in Iowa then?
Adair? That's on by theirs, by,
But it's stated in here, it has two different case scenarios. One was the county of Allegheny and the other one was the city of Adair. It doesn't say Iowa, but that was.
I don't know that, I would assume, but I don't know if that is or not.
1976, 1977.
Yeah, it's an old letter, and I think they just keep sending that out just to,
Show that there's
yeah.
They redated.
been history that has not worked for,
Well, I think it's something to be said for keeping an eye on how much more land we consume through public.
That's what Chris and I was talking, yeah.
I see there was a payment made from
yes,
our county conservation in our last claims for $133,000 for
yeah.
land north.
And I know he gets a lot donated to him,
But it still takes off our
but
tax.
it's, oh yeah, and it's not getting any smaller.
Well, and then the drainage problem, it gets put on all the farmers, and they're already having drainage issues. Expenses have to
Well,
stop.
we got one going right now, Quam Wildlife. Just, there are trees that they let grow over the tile line, plugged the main going through the property. And backing people's water up on some private tile too, so,
They don't take care of their property.
well, and to me, if they have the money to buy it, they should have the money to take care of it. And it should be put in their budgets, and I can see no reason why. I know when you asked the question the other way around, if I had planted some trees and plugged tile and got made you pay to fix it, how would you like?
So my recommendation for this is to abate the taxes, and what I will do on the computer system is put all of the assessments on any of their parcels as a zero assessment. Then that will just get redivvied amongst the landowners, but if that property ever sells, then we can go back and put in that assessment.
It's an act of Congress to get it out of that program.
So, I mean, that's what I would like to see happen, because then we just don't have this in the future.
Because we do this every year.
Right, it makes a lot of work for Julie, and then the drainage just
Well, the drainage-
gets rebuilt, and, yeah. So,
Would it take much work to explore just a little bit to fight this? Just to
No, I
explore.
mean, I could look at those prior cases. Obviously, there's some precedent that came about in the 70s, but
The 40s and the 70s.
there's the other case in the 40s.
1944 and 1976.
76 wasn't the other one.
76.
I mean, no, I mean, I can make a few phone calls and, you know, but I just think it's very, very
I know it's probably gonna be
unlikely, but
slim next to none, but,
yeah.
you know, stuff like this, we just keep sitting back and taking it, you know? And it's, I think we should just explore it a little bit.
Yeah, we can certainly.
And we just postpone it for a
I'll
month
have-
or two.
I'll have Julie make a copy of that stuff. I can grab it.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
So we're gonna table that.
You want to table it till like next week then, or?
We tried to
That'd be up to Adam, how long I think it should take to.
it'd be nice if we could get this done by June 30.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, we got year end coming up, and it's only a week ago.
Week and a half, yeah.
Yeah,
Because then she could have it off of her rolls. I wouldn't have to put it on my drainage.
Adam?
We've done this every year. Well, and I guess I was gonna think that, you know, President said, well, you've done it since 76, so we were 40, so. Let's take care of it today, and then we still work on it.
Yeah, I mean, I can call, I'm guessing ours is pretty low compared to other counties, but I don't know.
I don't know.
We don't have a high.
We don't have a high percent, I'm just wondering if other
You
counties have a
know,
higher
Sioux
percent.
County has got that whole Union Slough thing over there, and they have
Yeah, I was
problems
just-
there.
say I'll talk to a couple of the other supervisors and some other meetings I'll be at in the next few days and see what they think of it all.
I think the real thing we need to do is talk to our Steve King and our senators and emphasize to them that government owning land has got to come to a halt. I mean, when you put in 1 million acres into a national monument, that's a little bit of overreach. It takes it off the tax rolls and things like this happen where county government can't afford to do business.
So I guess in light of that, I'll make a motion to abate the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Drainage Tax assessments for this fiscal year.
I'll second the motion.
This is for all of them that are up to now?
Right, yeah.
Okay, not just this fiscal year. Some of these drains
They go back.
taxes go back some years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, why are we
Well-
doing it now then?
No, it would be just this.
Oh, it is just
Yeah,
this, okay.
This would be this year's.
Okay.
As I say, I assume that you probably have to do this every year.
Yeah, every year
Gotcha.
we've done it, so
I'm
this
sorry.
is just this year.
Yep, gotcha. Sorry.
All right, a motion Senator and a second from Derby to abate the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Drainage Tax assessment. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
So then if we find something now, then we have to unexempt them.
Julie, can you give me a copy of that top page too, please?
Yes, yep. You want copies of this too, Adam?
Yeah, whatever you do.
Okay, great. We just need Carla's, yeah. Get your copies.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, you wanted to table?
Well, we really need to go into closed session if we want to get too in detail with any possible litigation. I can just tell you from what I know from Hancock County is at this time, they are probably going to sign the participation and release. I talked to their county attorney briefly yesterday. I have not heard of any other counties or cities that are not doing this, but I will call the down in Des Moines, the commission, and ask them if they've heard anything. I think some might just be sitting back waiting to see what other ones are doing, because I think the deadline was
I think it's August.
August, so some probably haven't made a decision yet. And Hancock hasn't made a formal decision, that's just where they're leaning. So, but I think if we're gonna get into too much detail about litigation and success and those types of things, we probably wanna do that in closed session. So, I'll make a few phone calls and figure out where other people are looking at, but keep in mind, ours is a smaller amount. I mean, Hancock County is much bigger. Some of the other, I think we're probably towards the bottom of the amount, but that doesn't necessarily mean we have to go along with the other ones or not, but, so.
What gives the Iowa Insurance Board the arbitrary ability to make a settlement on our behalf?
Well, they're just trying to settle the case with Two Rivers in general. They don't have any authority to, make us, require us. They're just saying.
How did they come up with this settlement?
Well, I need to talk to them about it, but I believe they took the amount, Carla, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they took, I don't have the email that you sent me.
They took the amount of
Took the amount of undisclosed fees.
minus the outside broker fees, if a county had that,
Correct.
and then
They took
Ended up
the
with that
total
number.
amount of each entity's undisclosed fees minus the sub-broker fee and gave each entity the same percentage of that amount for each entity.
And I don't know what exactly that means, Mike. I'm not sure exactly how that is, but I believe they calculated every county percentage-wise the same. But I don't
she
know
told me
that.
it was an equal percentage of that number,
So,
that undisclosed.
there's some calculation there, obviously, that they felt was fair for all the members of the IGHCP, but, so.
So they think 5% is
I'm not sure if that's what, I don't know how they got to our specific number,
9% would be ours, I would think.
so
Well, 10%.
9.4.
yeah, I mean, I'll call and ask them those, but I think before we want to make a decision, we probably need to,
Okay,
Just a point of clarification, because I just did a story for AP in Radio Iowa. This is not leaning one way or the other, and Jerry is firmly against it.
Hancock County,
In
maybe?
Hancock County.
Yeah, that's my understanding too, but
Yeah.
when I talked to the county attorney yesterday, he just indicated that at this point in time, they're leaning towards signing, but there's been no formal decision, they haven't voted on it or anything. That's just where they're leaning, so.
What about Ron?
Ron is non-committal, but when I talked to Sis, she says, I don't like the plan, and I'm not gonna comment any further. And that was it. And I know that Jerry was firmly against it.
against signing the
Against
agreement?
signing it, yeah, he doesn't think that they should be gypped out of $210,000.
So, I also think maybe some counties and cities are waiting to see if anyone else is gonna, I don't wanna say take the lead, but I'm not aware of anyone that's formally voted to not sign it. So I'm not sure if people are sitting back, waiting
There are
to,
several that have already signed it. though.
I think there are a few that have signed it. I think there are some that have not done anything, like Hancock County, maybe to see if other entities are not going to. So,
Now we'll talk about it.
so,
All right, well,
So will that be at next week's?
yeah, we'll just do it right at 9.
Okay.
all right. Move on to number 7, consider for approval cell phone reimbursement policy.
We discussed this last week. There it is. And if you guys approve this, I would like you to, in the motion, have it be placed in the employee handbook.
What is in there currently?
Nothing's in the handbook currently. There's this policy that we have, but it's not in the handbook.
Was that written like a couple years ago? Can I borrow that from me for a second?
What?
This policy.
Terry's
Just
got
making
it.
copies, no.
And this, if you weren't here last week, but this came around because the auditor's office, the external auditors,
That's how you get it.
saw a couple of the reimbursements for people, and their phone bills were less than what they were being reimbursed. And that's not public purpose. And so the new policy reflects what they wanted to see in the policy. what they did.
Right.
You can't remember. I'm telling you. I used to know that.
How often do you, the average, us all, average people, change cell phones? 3 years, 4 years, 5 years?
You mean the actual cell?
Yeah, the phone.
itself?
2 years.
Couple years.
2 years? Should that be, put it in this,
The cost of the phone.
well, not the cost, but, well, yeah, but not,
It's like I pay $20-some a month for my pay
Right.
on the phone.
right.
You mean something in there, Mike, about how often you want employees to get a new phone? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, is it necessary?
Oh, I don't-
Some
I don't
people
know.
want to, is it necessary?
Yeah, I don't know. What is it, deputies?
Is it in there that we're
We've got our
reimbursing for
phones
paying for their phone
now.
too? Why are we paying for them to have a phone? I just thought of that.
It says, 20, blah, blah, blah.
I don't see that.
Don't do anything.
No, I don't think there's anything in there.
Okay.
Employee portion is $20 for the line and $20 for the phone.
Oh,
So maybe we don't pay for the phone.
I don't think we need to pay for you to have a phone.
So it'd just be the line and.
And part of the
division
data fees.
plan.
Personally, it's up to you guys, but
I agree.
I don't,
Some of these.
what's the public purpose for the county to pay for your bill? For you to have your
Some of
phone?
these are more of a lease on a phone. Not mine, but I think there is plans out there that are a lease on a phone.
Right. But still, what public purpose does that serve for the county to pay that portion?
Is there anybody that has a county phone and their own phone?
All the deputies have their own phones and their county phone.
Are they reimbursed?
They have.
No.
they have a county phone.
No, they're not reimbursed for their own, they're just paid, the county pays for a phone for them.
Yeah.
And they need that because
No,
they
That's
can't have their
separate from
personal.
this agreement then.
The bottom part is for.
Yeah.
Number 2 is for
Why do
that,
they need that when they have radios?
because their radios don't work all the time.
Well, lately my phone hasn't been working all the time either.
And they
So
can
you're
get,
Lake- Is it because you're in Lake Mills?
Uh,
Lake Mills is
Lake
horrible.
Mills and Thompson both have been bad.
A break, it's supposed to be in my home area. I called the US Cellular, who I have, says I can barely get a good enough signal to talk to you here. Well, you must be too far from the tower, sir. Says, no, I can see the flashing red light on your new tower. I still can't get the signal.
Well, Eric did bring up how, like, for the phone, he buys his phones online and then and so he was wondering about reimbursement for his phone because he just buys it all at once. So maybe we do take out the phone and just pay the line and the data.
Yeah, it's, or have only so much we will pay for a phone. Because I mean, if you want to get really fancy, some people may want that, but we shouldn't have to pay for it.
Right.
that's why I think we shouldn't pay it at all. It's not a public purpose. You already are gonna have a phone.
That's right, you are gonna have one, or you're not.
Right.
I have a phone. and
If
I'm
you
not
can
getting
prove that you're not,
reimbursed
I'm sorry, what?
for it. Well, I have a phone and I'm not getting reimbursed for it.
If you can prove that you wouldn't have a phone,
Right, and then we have that in the policy too, that if we require you, then that's different, but,
Well, I know Franklin County, all their supervisors do get reimbursement for their cell phones. And I thought about that for us, and I started thinking about it, well, I kind of consider my cell phone my cell phone. And if I want somebody to get hold of me on that, I'll give them my number, or, because I don't want it published online. I don't want people finding that online. But the people that need it will get it. And I'd rather have them go through the other channels to get a hold of me. Not that I'm trying to hide from them, but there's a certain sense of privacy. If I'm being reimbursed, then I would expect that would have to be available online as a public phone. Makes sense?
Yeah. My phone runs through the sheriff's office, you know, like the deputies. So, because not every deputy has a personal.
I think Dustin is the
I
other.
think there's maybe one deputy who doesn't have a personal.
He just uses the work one.
Yeah, that's how I am too. But my cell phone's on my business cards, and you know, it's fair game to be called 24/7. So, but I think some deputies do.
Yeah, we do get called 24/7. You do too?
Yeah, by you usually.
Yeah, not by me, I don't know. But the deputy.
So, I mean, it's hard when you have a policy, I mean, there's different, you know, different departments are a little different, but
the nurses just have a blanket policy. If you're part-time, you get $7. If you're full-time, you get $25. And then Ruth gets 40. And that's been since Jane was there.
But they just got paid for calls.
Plus, they get that too.
They get reimbursed also?
If they take a call, they get $5
Yeah,
a
I
call.
But the other,
They all get $7 or 25, or Ruth gets 40 every month. But that would be the Board of Health to fix that.
I guess I wasn't aware of that one.
I see itemized calls on their
On the payroll.
payroll. Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it may not be a public purpose. Some people abuse to own a phone or to be paid for the ownership of the phone, but if we're requiring them to have access through cell phone, isn't that public purpose?
But we aren't
We aren't requiring them.
Okay.
You
No.
can have, and you can get a county cell phone for a lot less than what we're reimbursing people for. That's the problem. It's for their convenience that we're reimbursing them.
I don't need reimbursement for my phone, I have it anyway.
Right.
Right.
County business happens to happen on it, I guess it's,
I call all the
But
contractors on my
The
cell
only
phone.
caveat to that would be, there are, like Mark, would be, probably uses a ton of data, so, he would probably go over his plan, so
He does not. We've talked about it. He does not go over his data limit with his family on his plan.
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Because that was something that we wondered about too.
those packages anymore now, you get unlimited data.
Like, I don't have unlimited data, but I'm going to have the phone anyway.
They tried to get me to go.
How much?
unlimited to that.
how much would it cost to have a county phone, you know?
I think what Eric told me the other day is it's like $40, and that you can get unlimited data, unlimited calls, and the whole works.
Well, give them a choice, give them $40 or give them a county phone.
But then that's still
In here,
over and above what
or is it?
Some
you're
people
using, yeah.
Doesn't matter, that's what it would cost us, the county.
So why do we need to go that high, is the thing. That's where,
Because that's the give and take of, they want only one phone. It'd make it a lot simpler for us, for you guys, for Carla.
For a full-time employee.
You either get $40 or get a county home. It's your choice.
But then the public purpose comes back to, why are we paying more for you to have that
In
phone?
my opinion, is a public purpose. I don't care if they're getting more for it. It's a standard policy. It's much easier to track. They have their choice. And
So then what about the nurses who get $7 now? Now we're gonna give them 40?
but they won't be getting the $5 per call,
Well, they still get that anyway.
but that'll be stopped.
But we can't change.
So now we're gonna go from 7 to 40 for a part-time person? We're gonna have to really think that through.
No,
They still
not
have their own
part-time,
policy.
not part-time person.
So the full-time people that get 25, we're gonna give them 40.
And as it states, as the department head will determine. I think that should be changed, that the department head will determine with the board of supervisors. It's just, I don't, shoot, it doesn't matter to me, shoot it down,
The reason this was brought up in the first place, though, is that some people's bills were less than
right,
what they were getting paid.
Right.
So if we make it a blanket, you still could have that, and then the external auditors we're still gonna get wrote up.
well, then I think we should challenge the external auditors. Because, to me, I think the three of us can determine what's good public use of our dollars. And to sit and go back and forth on this, on something that $15 a month per person, if we wanted, let's tie it into their compensation. Good grief, I mean, sometimes, and I include myself, sometimes we make things so complicated that,
So can we send back a note to the external auditor and ask them, okay, here's our justification. We can get a county phone for 40. That's our justification for that number. Would they accept it? It'd be a maximum of 40 reimbursement in lieu of a county phone.
But are you saying maximum of 40 or just 40 across the board? Because you're saying 40 across the
40
board.
across the board, I mean, that, you can't, and we don't know who uses more, who uses less.
Just a cell phone, or is that a smartphone for 40?
But if it's got unlimited data to it, it's gotta be smart.
Maximum reimbursement rate for a basic phone will be 35, is what we have in this policy.
Why can't they just turn in a claim and just pay the exact amount that's due? So you don't have more given to them than what their bill was.
Well, if you wanna look over every line item on a phone bill, that's fine, but
Well, the person would have to be in charge of that.
Well, we're doing that anyway.
Right, but if you have, your family on your plan, then we have to figure out what your data plan is divided by how many people are on your plan. Which is fine, I'm willing to do that. Because right now I think we're paying
Well, you're
way
doing that-
too much.
You're doing that now anyway, right? How else, the auditors caught this? Or
Well, the auditors caught it because we were giving some people 65, some people 75, and when they looked at what their phone bill that they had turned in was $40 or $50 or
Why you make a
$20.
sweeping change? Just the ones you have a problem with, figure theirs out. Right, it's a few problems with this. When you've got a lot of different, sheriff's office, public health, I don't know what Scott's, road people,
Yeah.
why make sweeping changes? Just fix the ones that are the issue and.
Because the cell phone policy right now says you can have up to $65 or
Well, and that's
75.
what I tried to do with this, and,
Well, yeah, but if the policy says
You
up
still
to
have to audit it.
$65, that doesn't mean that
But that-
it's
they also-
65.
but
They
you still
also-
have to audit it.
But I'm saying though, if there's just a few that need to be audited,
But that's not, you gotta audit everybody, to be fair. You can't just audit it, what if the other starts using?
well, but it has been audited, right? And then we found a few. So if there's just a few that are at issue right now, I don't understand why sweeping changes. If it's up to 65 and they're claiming 65, but they shouldn't be, then that needs to be fixed, and
But doesn't that need to be fixed in the policy, because the
it says up
department
to
head,
65.
but the department head,
75.
Well,
Yeah.
up to, that doesn't mean they get 75.
but the department
why it
heads have been
says-
giving it, is what I'm saying. The department heads are giving it to their people.
Then the department heads need to be told.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean,
That's
that's
talking
how
to
do we
department
fix
heads.
that?
That doesn't mean you need to make
Right.
sweeping changes to the policy. I think your policy is fine.
And
Your
You just have people that are maybe abusing the policy. So
currently, does our policy stay with accountability of the bill, or?
Nope.
See, maybe that's what we need to change.
yeah, I don't think the policies may be wrong. I think you just gotta, maybe it
Because the word up
needs to be
to-
some enforcement behind the
Yeah, up
policy.
to everybody's taking the max.
Yeah.
Not everyone. You're saying that there's just a few.
Well, they only audited a few. I haven't looked at every single one because not everybody turns in a bill to me. They just turn in their reimbursement. And so I don't see the whole
How many are you talking about?
attachment. Oh, we have a lot in the county that get reimbursed for a phone.
Yeah, but how many of this issue?
I don't know what they did a sweep,
I don't know either, they just.
they
told
just
us
found
there
a
was
couple
problem.
in their, when they just picked claims to look at.
$40 or get the county phone. If you're not happy with the $40, get the county.
I don't know who in the heck's gonna get a phone cheaper than $40. So they're still making money off of it. And it's almost everybody's gonna have a phone anyway, so it's.
And we've just saved the county $30 a month for the employees that get it.
It's whatever you guys want to do.
That's what a lot of businesses do. They just have a flat fee that they reimburse employees for using their cell phones for business.
I guess I'd still like to hear an opinion from the external auditor if we do something like that. But then this is their justification, what would they say to that?
I can email her.
So table this,
Table this one?
we'll have to write something up otherwise anyways.
All right, then consider for approval semi-monthly county claims, or you want to do the rest of them first?
Let's just, yeah, semi-monthly.
Did you guys have any questions on it? I did send it to your
There
head.
was one that was interesting.
Okay.
It's like a reimbursement to a bar or something like that.
I still had itemized food. Because sometimes when you go to a class, you end up going to a titled name, like Shooter's Bar and Grill. And even though you might
No,
sit on the
this
restaurant
was-
side.
This was a large amount.
Oh, that I don't know, I'm sorry.
It was,
The other one was, it seemed like we were buying chemicals, spray chemicals, from Staples. Staples, like a credit card.
Oh, because he might put it under the line item of the chemicals, but that's maybe not what he bought, so those are hard for me to catch, because I don't know what every line item
Is
is
that,
in my head.
do that?
It's out of his budget.
5 Alarm Brewing Company.
That is our,
Revolving loan.
Yeah, it's the
Revolving loan.
loan, yeah, I saw that, but, and I just thought that was interesting that it was the 5 Alarm Brewing Company.
yes, because they're firemen, so. Mhm.
For 50,000.
Yeah. They know how to work that. Too bad Mark wasn't here.
That's the revolving. That's the company name.
He's not opening another brewery on Main Street.
Make a motion to approve the semi-monthly claims.
Also, motion.
Oh, is that,
Senator, Secretary, we approve semi-monthly county claims, favor say aye.
what did I
Aye.
do?
For when we're back, is that revolving loans?
All right, number 9, consider for approval fireworks permit for John Warren.
501.
Okay, so since I've looked through the laws on this, he's got this at an address that's owned by another person. 'Cause he
Lund
lives-
does?
John lives in town, but he's firing him at another person. So I would be okay with this if we have documentation saying this person said it was okay to shoot him at his place.
Yeah, something.
We can do this contingent on the owner's permission.
I would guess that he probably does.
But don't.
You'd hate to assume though, and then.
Yeah, no, just,
It's just outside of town,
Yeah.
just east of town.
Yeah, I think you'd want to get something from the landowner, written permission from the landowner.
So do we want the applications to be from the landowner? Because it says it has to be by
Not
an
necessarily, as
approved.
long as there's a document, a permission
Permission.
from that person, I have no problem.
When they, like in this case, he should have had it on there that I do have the permission.
Well, I can write that too. It'd be nice to have something in
No,
there.
I think you want it from the landowner too,
Yeah.
not a phone call.
Just so when we
just-
give out the applications, we know what to say or have.
I would think if you tell them, if this is for a permit for not your residence, you also need to get signed permission from.
How about, do we need to do like another line, a signature line, so whoever's gonna shoot them off, and then a landowner?
Good, that'd be easy enough.
What's the address?
18793A.
Yeah, I think that's.
I don't know.
He's got two properties out there, one's A, one's B.
How about I voted you this whole time?
Promise though.
I was going last Thursday and Friday,
Tim.
yeah, so,
Tim
and I was
Hill.
kind of stuck back in my house yesterday. At Tim Bill's?
There's, it's across the road.
Tim?
Yeah, it's coming towards your place.
Is that Tim Bill's? Tim and Donna?
Madonna?
Yeah, she goes by Donna, but Tim and Donna.
I just think every time I drove.
Donna's out of town, so that'll be funny. Like, there are fireworks at your
Unless the
house.
kids were out, then I would.
I went to my, we were looking at, in our school property, there was a bunch of stuff, tree branches everywhere now. There's a whole bunch of fireworks that they shut off on our property, and just left it laying. Yeah.
So anyway, is there a line on there we can put, so if it's not there? Did we make up this form, or who made up that form?
It's, well,
Just been there?
been there.
Maybe Chelsea. And that way, we can tell them when they come to get an application that if it's not your land, you need the landowner's signature before they come in.
Since the new law come into effect, it's got those provisions, you have to have the permission. Because I've had questions from other people in town, where can I shoot my fireworks? I mean, the one guy, he spent $15 on his fireworks, and he said he can't go out and shoot them.
Well, duh. Okay.
Yeah, just don't get caught.
I just
I get shot off in front of the fire.
So we want to.
I just see a can of worms.
We've got another week to approve this, I would think. He's applied for it in time, we can approve it next week and put the new, have notified him that he needs to get the language signature.
It's gonna be complicated.
Otherwise, you know, I still,
I read.
Yeah, I don't know.
we're one of the few, it seems like.
The right to grant.
I think so.
No, I read.
Have you seen a map yet of North Iowa?
Whoever owns it, you own it, you live in California. I rent.
Fireworks?
Yeah.
I want to shoot.
I have, we're definitely
down.
minority.
I think so. About Worth and
Saragota said no, Worth has said that it's okay to shoot in the county, but not in the cities. Hancock, you have to have a permit to shoot them off. And then that's so they know where you're shooting them off at. You guys, it's okay as long as it's outside the city limits. Humboldt has denied, and Franklin has said that they can shoot them off, but only in certain locations.
You still need a permit here.
Well,
You need a permit for Class B.
for the exhibition one.
Yeah.
display.
But with Hancock, you have to have it for everything, so they know exactly where you're shooting it off. It's free, you just have to go get it. Which isn't too bad of an idea, if you stop and think about it, and you know exactly to start the fire.
All right, we'll move on. Consider for approval salaries of employees for fiscal year 2018.
These are the ones that weren't in the first batch.
Mm-hmm. There'll probably be still some more next week too.
Are you coming? My stuff up there. I'm guessing.
Is there one more claims cycle next week?
We will probably run one first.
Seems like we always do one the last week.
Mm-hmm.
Carly, do you check these against our percentage raise?
I assume that it was all calculated.
I'll make a motion to approve the salaries of employees for fiscal year 2000.
Second that.
Motion Derby, second from Stenger to approve the salaries for employees for fiscal year 2018. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
And just so you know, if they're not correct, I correct them.
I would have never assumed anything else. Open forum, anything exciting for that?
Oh, there's lots
look
of
at
exciting
all the-
stuff for that.
Yes. Whole stack of them.
There you go.
Obviously, I might go to this. Otherwise, I'll be on there. How you doing?
Did they just approve the wages for that office?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I get copies or?
Yeah, I'll bring it down to you.
Okay, appreciate that, thank you.
Yep. Thank you, sir. I just have a question. How come last week you guys were just ready to stamp that phone policy and this week it's,
Because there's too many questions that came up. I guess I was fine with the way it was. And so what if they make a little money on it?
Yeah, but they shouldn't have.
No. But it wasn't their doing, is what, so I mean,
But they know it.
yeah.
If it had been me, I would have at least lowered it to what my whole bill was.
Yeah.
And then you're still money hit, 'cause you got 3 phone. Because it's not right, I guess.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is that none of the elected officials take it. It's all people who have their own boards or people who are hired. None of the elected people take it, so.
Well, I don't see where they would have a need for it.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think the only person who really needs it is Mark Johnson. And Eric, maybe.
Yeah,
Because
say Eric should have.
Eric,
He's on
too.
call all the time.
But those are the only two people I
I-
really see that even need it.
I wouldn't.
Well, it's a time saver for the nurses. If they had to come back and make all their calls here in Fort City.
Yeah, but they're gonna have a cell phone anyway. Anybody, well, I shouldn't say that. There are a few people who don't have cell phones anyway. Even grandparents all have cell phones. Okay. Anything else for open forum?
I don't think so.
Oops, need these.
Yes.
Hey Jay, anything for open forum?
Nothing except that article's just creating a hell of a stir. I haven't seen this much activity since the beavers.
Since what?
Since the beavers.
Well, we stand adjourned then, I would guess. Good morning.
I worked that out with Jane. The time issue, July.
You mean your calculations?
I was I underestimated by about
It's still gonna be
800.
$16.88 an hour, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
but
that's all I need to know.
I had almost $1,000 left to the good.
Okay.
Well, now we got,
3 hours.
2 hours and 50 minutes to kill.